Welcome to Moms with a Call. We're not here to preach, convert, or fix you. We're here to listen.
We're McKenzie
and Rebecca, two women with messy stories, honest questions, and a quiet hope that maybe Jesus looks a lot more like love than we were ever shown. If you've ever wondered if there's a place for you in all of this, there is. Come, have a seat at the table. You're safe here. You're welcome here. Let's begin.
Hello and welcome back to Moms with a Call. We're so excited that you are here with us today. We have some very special guests here with us that I'll let Rebecca introduce in just a second. But we are reflecting, it's been almost, if not a year, since Hurricane Helene and the horrible flooding that occurred in North Carolina and across the Appalachian Mountains. And so, Rebecca, do you want to go ahead and introduce our guests?
Yes, we have two very special guests on today. They're brothers, my husband, Ross, and his brother, Jordan. Thanks for coming over. Sorry, I'm blocking you.
No, you're good.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So, Jordan, you're from, well, if it's actually both of you are from Boone, right? From Boone, North Carolina?
Yeah, I grew up in the mountains of North Carolina.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So you've been there your whole life?
Pretty much. Started out off the mountain and then through middle school, I guess elementary school. Yeah, we moved up the mountain and never really left.
Yeah.
And Ross headed to the coast.
Yeah. What made you head to the coast?
Oh, man. So I finished at App State and went to school for television radio. And about the time I got out, New York and LA were kind of out of the budget. So had some friends in Wilmington.
You did not strike me as a New York or LA.
Well, that's where the business was at the time. So, but things were also, there was a lot going on in Wilmington. So about the time I came out here, I was able to kind of work on a couple sets and meet some people, but it just, it was, I had to find something more full time.
And for those listening, what did you study in college?
Communications degree with, so television and radio. So I did some voiceover stuff and in college. I did sports on the radio up there at the college station in the mornings. And so voiceover was kind of like my dream job. Like I wanted to do, whether it was radio commercial or animation, film, things like that. So anyways, I just ended up liking Wilmington, met a bunch of friends, ended up staying here, then eventually meeting my wife, and I've been here ever since, about 14 years now. But I call home, I call Boone home. So here we are.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for letting us all. I mean, I feel like I didn't know. I knew you had a production background kind of, but I didn't know the voiceover piece. Okay, so Jordan, so you stayed in Boone, you kind of moved there, younger, you said middle school, is that what?
Yeah, so the middle school we moved away from Watauga County and went to school at West Forsyth in Winston. And I knew I wanted to get right back up the mountain. So as soon as I graduated high school, went back up, went to App and stayed there, planted roots and raised our babies there. So it's been
such a beautiful
great place.
Oh my gosh.
Great place.
He has 4 beautiful children.
Oh my gosh, 4.
We do. We have 3 sons and a daughter. Candace and I do. Amazing wife. Heath is 19. Joe's 18. Julia's 16. And then Parker's 12. So 3 sons and a daughter.
Oh, I love it.
And Julia, mom always says, because she has 2 brothers, she's like, girls with only brothers are not to be messed with. They're different.
They breed.
It's so amazing, though.
It is. It is. It really
so
is.
Amazing.
Like, they don't put up with crap. It's
true.
But also, I feel like they can handle a lot of stuff easier.
They're soft-hearted, but they also stand ground when when they feel like it's necessary.
Yeah, that's
like
definitely Julia.
So true. So true.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the goal of this episode is kind of to talk about what you guys went through, and you were on the ground when Hurricane Helene actually happened.
Yeah.
And so I'd love to kind of set the scene, and what was it like being up, maybe leading up to the actual hurricane? What happened? Like, were there warnings? And I know a lot of people were like, no, this could not even be warned.
So I'm an agent with Farm Bureau, North Carolina Farm Bureau. And so we had actually just finished a managers conference in Asheville.
Okay.
And so, here we are 48 hours later. we just saw weather was rolling in and it was, going to rain a lot. That was all we really knew. And so, I remember we actually closed our office down about 3 hours early the day the rain started because they had issued some tornado warnings and just, flash flood. And it's like, okay, got with corporate, hey, not feeling good about this. We got some folks that's about a 45-minute drive and they cross rivers multiple times and bridges. And so we decided to close early. And I remember as the evening kept going on, you're like, man, this is settling in. Like this is more rain than we've seen in a while.
And do you get flash flooding up there?
We do. Yeah, we do. Leading up to it though, what really impacted the high country the most was the rain that we'd gotten for about a week solid. Just a light rain. It had done enough saturating to the ground to where it just couldn't hold anymore. Like Mother Nature's just pumping it in. And so that night we started seeing, more rain, heavier rain, consistent rain. And we've got a couple spots that just flood all the time. Anyway, they flooded pretty quick. And the next morning, I remember getting up at like 5 a.m. and I just told the staff, I was like, hey, let's stay home while the rain finishes off and let's kind of let the waters recede a little bit. And it just didn't happen for a couple of days. So, I remember it rolling in and saying, okay, this is real. We're getting a lot of water. We're getting a lot of rain. And then it just couldn't handle it anymore. The runoff just didn't have anywhere to go. The river started rising. Parts of Ash had about a 23-foot elevation change in water in the rivers. So like your valleys that were really sharp saw it the worst as compared to more spread out around the river, kind of like more coastal flooding. Or coastal flooding is what that was. But your really tight communities that were really on the edge of the riverbanks, they saw flooding they'd never seen before. So it led to mud runoff, earth runoff, houses just disappearing into the river, and cattle, tractors, cars, you name it. It was just swallowing everything up. So it was a crazy 48 hours. And then the dust kind of settled, the sun came out, the waters receded, and that's when we kind of started figuring out the damage that had been done. Avery, Ash, Watauga.
Was it like anything you were expecting?
The word that I still think about it today is just apocalyptic. Like it was that bad. You had folks across the river that needed things. You had places that were gone and you just saw a foundation. You saw cars and trees, tractors upside down, cattle just laying around. We immediately, just some friends of mine from church, we just went out and started riding around just checking on folks from church, but also, hey, what do you need kind of thing. And we just rode around as much as we could, but hit a lot of roadblocks.
So you were riding around in cars or ATVs?
Yeah, cars as best we could. Okay. Side by sides for a big part of that. Horses rolled in. That was pretty cool to see. Mules, pack mules and stuff.
Did you have communication at all? No. So no phones, no.
No, we had made contact with a couple of folks that brought in and donated Starlinks for us.
Wow.
I remember one guy, I called him Humvee. He owned a telecommunications satellite company, and he's part of Cajun Navy, and he rolled in and he was like, here's my documentation if anybody asks. I'm working, but not really. I'm volunteering. And so he was setting up Starlinks for the community to hold on to for a little while until cell service came back up.
Yeah. How long was it out?
Some parts were out for a couple of weeks, but for the most part, it's about 5 days, a week. The worst we heard was a couple of weeks. Yeah.
And that's water and electricity being out too.
Yeah, electricity was out for a good solid couple of weeks in some spots, some a little bit longer. The further out, the more remote you got, they were closer to 30 days in some spots, but just flickered. But there was a lot of line damage. Like they would literally just scout the roads, push old lines down the banks and start new ones just to hurry up and get people back on the grid. Yep.
I'm sorry. It's like, I'm still just blown away. I had actually just had Forrest. So I had him on September 14th. And then all this had happened. I obviously wasn't anywhere near it, but I remember being, postpartum mom, right? You're like always on your phone. And I just remember seeing all of these Facebook groups and all of these comments of people searching for people that were missing.
Sure.
And so But like you said, there wasn't any communication. They couldn't get in touch. And
Mhm.
so it
Mhm.
really was like you just drove up to who you could find and then y'all went out and looked for people.
Yeah. I remember folks literally catching rides or walking in to file their claims. Like they didn't have sign, right? So they didn't have social media. It was covered in mud. Hey, here, I need to file my claim. And you just loved them. Like you loved them. You brought them in and said,
So you
how are
still were
you?
open.
Yeah. Yeah. We were open.
Oh my
Yeah. We
God.
stayed open pretty much every day after the storm hit.
Because he's
Yeah.
in insurance.
I know a lot of the people actually speaking about insurance, they didn't have
Yeah.
flood insurance, right?
So yeah, you had a lot of folks without, you had folks with it. You had folks that it didn't qualify because of it not being water. It was more mud and earth, right?
Mhm.
So it had coverage, but it wasn't true coverage. So yeah, you had a lot of different mixed feelings on that. And at the end of the day, as agents, I just coached my office to say, hey, our door's open.
Yeah.
Be there for them. We're going to get them resources.
Mhm.
Even if it's a policy that their policy doesn't cover. We had folks bringing their policies in. Hey, is my
Yeah.
house covered? Even though it's not Farm Bureau. And so you got to coach and kind of help people along in their thinking. It wasn't the time to have the conversation of saying no. So it was more of how are you? Like, what do you need kind of thing. And so,
Yeah.
our office turned into an opportunity to just minister to people and just love on them.
Yeah.
You had folks may have lost a loved one or a car that had everything in it. They were moving, all their stuff gone. Had a lady, 63 years old, lost her home. She felt the walls trembling, felt the floor moving a little bit. It died. And she's like, okay, I'm cool. Well, then it got worse. And she literally hopped out the window on her porch and jumped over the rail kind of thing. So
At 63?
at
and she
63.
just-
Yeah. Drove her
Wow.
car in. We talked about it in the parking lot, hung out, and we had some, tents set up with some supplies and things like that. People coming in, how can we help? Just ended up being a point of contact.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
in
So
a
let's.
crazy way.
What?
Still
How-
that happened.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. You kind of. So there weren't really nonprofits involved just yet, like in the immediate response, right?
Yeah, your churches and just volunteers. It was a heavy.
Mhm.
At that time, local officials didn't. They just didn't know what to do. It was a very overwhelming feeling of what's next, right? And so started going to some of those emergency meetings at town hall and kind of getting in there, trying to get some information, some feedback. It evolved into more help rolling in. But the first 5 days was just what we call privately funded, privately helped, right?
Yeah.
True volunteer work. Yeah.
Wow.
Gosh,
Yeah.
it's wild.
It's crazy. You still ride around and you think everything's okay,
Mhm.
right?
Like, even to this day.
Even to this day. But then you can get to certain roads in certain parts of the county and it's just like it hits you.
Oh yeah.
It's
that-
still,
yeah.
there's still an impact there. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did they get pulled in? How did we, like, for you? How did that all happen?
I think it was really Jordan. We were talking to you and Candace, and we're like, "What do you guys need?" More of like our family.
Mhm.
How can we help you guys? And
Yeah.
Jordan, I remember Jordan was always like, "Oh, don't worry about us. We're good, but these people need this, this, and this." And we quickly realized like there's a immediate emergency
Mhm.
need. And I remember he was the one that mentioned, Boone and Asheville are as fine as they can be. They're having resources poured into them, but there are these tons of smaller communities surrounding the mountains that really could use
need
the help. And that's kind of where Ross came in. And so I'll let him kind of take that away.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. We had gotten some. Obviously, we had them sending us stuff and texting us, and then we had, obviously, I've still got a bunch of friends up there, and we had gotten some videos of some folks who had a place kind of in the Fosco area, so out at Hound Ears, which is a golf course up there that, every time it rains, it's kind of like Jordan was saying, there's some places that just flood every time, right?
Mhm.
So there's a river that runs along Hound Ears, and every time it rains, it's just a flash flood area. The golf course will flood, everything, it's just kind of a normal thing. But we were getting pictures and videos, and I knew exactly where the video was taken from in Hound Ears, and I knew there was also a turn house that was right there where this video was taken, and it was no longer there. Like, it was like the water had risen in a couple of days that, you know, obviously nobody's ever seen up there before. So then I'm just kind of glued kind of to the TV for the next day, trying to get all the information on your phone from people and stuff. There was some that still had service. They could get in touch with you. And, it was hard to watch, I think, was the worst part about it was, you know, cause we go through these things. It's kind of like a normal thing when you live at the beach, you know, we're the ones that's supposed to get the hurricanes. Like, you know, we're the ones that deal with this type of situation. And we also deal with those folks who just want to show up and help, but nobody has a clue what to do or where to go or who to help or how to help. But they want to help, you know, most of them have good intentions, but I'm sure as Jordan probably saw that, you know, there's also some that come through and they don't. But so we were getting pictures and videos, and it was just like, I've never seen it like that up there. And, so for the next like 24 to 36 hours, I would say, I don't think I slept either Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. I think I woke up Monday morning and I realized real quick that, like, you know, all right, we got to figure something out. I've wasted 2 days of not doing anything when I really didn't know what to do, because I mean, it was still raining. It was still flooding. It was still, you know, things were still happening up there that was like, you know, where do you start kind of thing. And so I work in logistics now. And so I knew that I could figure that part out.
You had the resources.
I could figure that part out. It was a matter of what these folks need, how we can get it to them. And so my first phone call, this was when I left my house, pulling up my driveway. First phone call was Ryan Legg, who was our owner of my company, Megacorp Logistics. And so called him, and of course, you know, he was like, whatever you need, let me know. Like, we got you. Cause he, you know, he's from West Virginia. He's from the mountains as well. He loves to go to the North Carolina mountains. And then my second phone call was to our pastor, Mike Ashcraft at Port City. And all of us were kind of in the same boat. Like, all right, where do we start? How do we get this thing rolling? We want to do it the right way, you know? And then my third phone call was to some folks that I do business with, T&J Produce, John and Trevor Critcher. They own a produce company right there off the mountain. They had their own trucks. And so I knew, you know, if anybody was going to make this thing happen with me, it was going to be them boys. And so they are, man, I couldn't ask for a more godly group of men to work with on a daily basis. But also I knew their hearts, you know? So called them up, and it was, you know, what time you need a truck there? You need one today? So I had made those 3 phone calls by the time I got to the office, and I had a yes, and a yes. And I think I called Rebecca, and I was like, you know what? I'm kind of private on social media. None of my stuff's public. So I said, for the next like 48 hours, I think we're either going to have to make our stuff public, because I wanted to go on these groups. This is how we're going to have to do it in order to get help. And so, I think my first post was like to the Wrightsville Beach Facebook page, and then a Wilmington Facebook page. And so, you know, part of my conversation with Mr. Legg was, you know, I called him back and I was like, look, like, people are willing to help us, but where are we going to put this stuff? I mean, people within an hour, I mean, I'm talking about, I posted this stuff Monday morning by lunchtime, 10, 11 o'clock. By noon, we had people at the front door unloading their cars, want to know where they could put this. I mean, people were going to Costco, Sam's Club, wherever. They were bringing in toilet paper, paper towel, like, I mean, everything, you know, just the necessities, you know? And so, I called him back. I said, do you mind if we use the building? You know, we've got that's what we call the hub. It's like a restaurant in our office. And so he's like, man, whatever you need, clear the building out. Let's go. So we just started spreading the word to the Facebook groups. And so word got out. Had a couple other buddies, Judd, who was a fellow App State alumni. Shout out Judd at Wrightsville Beach Brewery. He found out what we were doing. Obviously, I mean, everybody's communicating at this point. I mean, it is like the word has gotten out down here, and it was amazing to see. And then Aaron with Qualified Captain hit me up. They had already, like, I guess, planned it Saturday, Sunday, where people were dropping stuff off first thing Monday morning at Wrightsville Beach Brewery. Wow. So Aaron had his trailer over there. Judd had a trailer there, and they were already like chainsaws. They were fueled up. They were already going up there. He's like, man, we've got so much stuff. It sounds like you figured out some stuff. Can we bring some other stuff to you to get up there? And I was like, man, bring it on, you know?
Yeah.
So with that, on top of everybody else that was coming through, I mean, it ended up being a full on, like, pull up, empty your car out at the curb. And we had carts out there. My goal was one trailer. when it all said and done, I think we did 14 trailers, full 53-foot tractor trailers. And the Critcher guys, they were, every time I called them, look, I need another one. So they were, for those of you who are not familiar with the trucking business, guys just don't drive somewhere empty, like trailer empty to go, what we call deadheading. So when you unload somewhere, say you unload in Raleigh and you get a load in Raleigh, you want to try and get a reload somewhere close to that area because you don't want to drive and burn your fuel up with an empty trailer, that you're in the business and make money. So it didn't matter. These guys were like,
They just
listen,
wanted to help.
we're either going to, so they're sitting in trucks from Wilkes County empty. They would go down to Fayetteville, North Carolina and Raleigh area. And they got empty and they just send them down to Wilmington. And they would drive back up from Wilmington. And we started up in Jefferson. Jordan was my first go-to because I knew, up in that area, people that don't live in North Carolina or Western North Carolina, they just figured it was just Boone and Nashville. That was it. That was the only two towns over there. But the amount of little towns and different little nooks, man, that are up, you take a left on the gravel road and you go 2 miles up the hill and there's, families living up there that nobody knows about. But people don't realize that there's a lot more people out there than just Boone and Asheville. And so we ended up, kind of through social media, I guess, got more involved with other places throughout North Carolina. And in Wilmington, it was just nonstop. Once it started on Monday, it just was nonstop.
So it's like your second full-time job?
I luckily, thank goodness I got some good team, with me that handles my operations that I was able to just kind of, I didn't have to say nothing.
That's
they just kind of took over for me.
Well, a lot of the employees at Megacorp, it was like whenever they had a break from work, they would get up and they would go pack supplies or come grab supplies out of the car. And you're putting them on pallets and you're wrapping them and you're having like a forklift essentially move the pallets around. Like it's a whole
thing.
A well-oiled machine they
How
had
did you
there.
guys figure out what was needed?
So we're trying to figure out how we're going to get, I had 2 men in a truck called me out of nowhere. This guy, Jonathan, that works over there. And he's like, hey man, I hear what you're doing over there. What do you need? And, next thing you know, this dude's rolling up with 8 dudes with 2 trucks, emptying pallets. We had pallets. We had shrink wrap. It was stuff that I was like, man, we'll just throw it in the truck, And next thing you know, I was like, all right, there's too much stuff. You gotta figure something else out. So we just went out back of the building there and just laid pallets out. And we just, we were kind of sorting things. We put diapers over here on the pallet, paper towel, we had it kind of broken down. And we had my buddy Kyle, who works over at Monteith. He was right on the corner working on the building and he had a forklift. So he brought his skid steer forklift over here and would drive it over there on this, and in the morning and for 4 hours when the truck showed up, 3 hours, whatever it took us to load the truck. We would be out there, it turned into something I never expected it to turn into.
The supply list was changing
every
hour.
Every hour.
Yeah.
It was, what did that look like being there?
Man, that was the smallest, quickest learning curve I'd ever been through on anything in my life, right? It was like learning how to be a dad. All right, you got some time. Learning how to play guitar. You got some time.
Yeah.
Learning how to figure out how to get water to people 19 miles away or to a fire department. And then everybody else was doing that. So then they were maxed out and good on that. But Jordan, we need this. We need diapers. All right, cool. Let's get diapers. And 48 hours later, you had enough diapers. But then you needed wipes or you needed, dry foods that couldn't go bad because the fridge was not working, right? So it was constant, man. It was constant. And so what you figured out was, all right, you had groups that could have been doing a better job with that. They were just taking it in. But their head was spinning because they didn't know where to go with it. And so you just figured out next steps as you went. All right, guys, we're going to start doing this. This will work. We talked to somebody in Avery. This is working. We talked to somebody in Boone. This is working. And you just started putting your ideas together, right? So as that evolved, the list changed every day. But you never had too much. What we figured out, I live in Boone, and so I had some great contacts in Boone. do some business with some Avery folks. So I ended up having some conversation with them. You figured out, okay, you have too much of this. Let me call up to Avery and see. Let me call Reg over in Boone and see. Let me call April and see. Let me call the fire department in Crumpler. Let me call the captain. So you started calling around. Yeah, no, we're good, Jordan. No, but we do need that. And you started figuring it out.
Yeah.
And it became a bigger network of people helping for one cause as compared to like 20,000 groups trying to figure out how to take care of a certain area. So it was a fast, slow learn because your head was just spinning.
Yeah.
Humanity kicked in to say, we got to do something, right? Ross has already said it. You put the pallets out. You got shrink wrap start coming up. Like that was the beauty of everybody's different God-given brain and heart to figure out how is this going to work an hour from now?
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody needs home insurance tomorrow, but we got hungry people over here. Like people started stepping back and Farm Bureau allowed me to do that, which was awesome. Megacorp allowed him. You just had humanity start kicking in and say, okay, this 1 Corinthians 12, man, this is the ministry. We're going to put others before we put ourselves. And so you saw that start happening, right? You saw police officers start relinquishing. Yeah, man, go on up there. Go on up there. I didn't see you go up there. Right?
I mean, what do
You
you
had
do?
fire departments start saying, okay, we're not getting the help we need. We'll take that stuff in and we'll make sure our communities get it. Because up there, man, it's volunteer fire departments.
Yeah.
I mean, 8 to 12 scattered in this high country area. The captains were the contact, the fire chiefs, right? They'd never been through that stuff before. Y'all.
No.
Yeah.
And they probably had no training either for how to deal with this.
Yeah.
Not to that capacity. They had a little bit, right? But up there, it's folks that it's country women, country guys that are gritty, that
Gritty.
they didn't use that training.
Yeah.
They just made it happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so you saw a lot of that. The beauty that came from that was, hey, chief, is your house okay? These people were just giving, and they were falling out. They were tapping out. I can't do this anymore, man. Like I'm spent. I don't know where the bread needs to go. I don't know where the diapers need to go. I got stuff of my own to deal with.
Yeah.
And so you just saw this network of teams start pouring in to get stuff delivered, to get stuff passed out, to get stuff where it needed to go. So when communication kicked on, the overwhelming kind of backed off, and then it turned into, all right, it's game time. I got this contact, this contact, this contact, this contact. And then that led to more contact. It just spidered out, right? So we start crossing over into Virginia, Tennessee a little bit that have been impacted.
So how are you like
evolved.
keeping everybody's contact information? Like how is this organized in your brain?
Yeah. So I learned something 3 years ago that I was not as organized as I thought I was. And so I started carrying a notepad around with me. I keep a little yellow notepad spiral bound. That way the pages don't fall out of it. So then I was like, oh, shoot, I need a legal pad because this is going to fill up quick. So at like day 3, me and a buddy of mine started talking. He's super organized, Marty Peters. We started talking. I said, hey, Marty, man, I feel like I need to do something. Same thing Ross and Rebecca were thinking. I need to do something. So he's a landscaper. So it's like, all right, he can do something with the equipment. All right. I love networking. So I was like a go-to there. Well, then we get hooked up a couple of days later with this other guy named David Baker. Like he used to work for the town. He's retired, but they called on him to carry this cell phone around that they assigned to him and said, hey, bro, take care of the inbound calls. Y'all, can you imagine?
No.
One line with all the inbound phone. So we literally started filling up whiteboards. We moved 3 whiteboards into this office that Marty Peters gave up and said, all right, we need to start documenting who needs bridges, who needs bread, who needs power, who needs oxygen. We just started documenting it. And it was a checklist.
Wow.
And we started ticking, right? We got a truck coming in from Megacorp. It's got this on it, right? We got a truck coming in from the other side of Raleigh. It's got this on it. And then you already figured out where to go and you dispatched it. Like it just became a dispatch center. Totally just took brains. How are we going to do this?
Yeah.
It can't be chaos,
No.
right? Like we had people there in the county that should have not had chaos, that had chaos. And said other people just start figuring out, take care of people. We got to take care of our people.
Yeah.
And so organization, like, praise God, like it came from having multiple people around the table, just taking their breath and saying, all right, guys, it's 6:30 a.m. what's the plan today? What's a one baby step we can take today so that people are taken care of? And that was knocking on doors. That was people coming in. Hey, they turned me away. Can you use me? Absolutely. Give me 5 minutes. Let me get my head wrapped around it. I'm going to send you somewhere.
Yeah.
And so you just saw it kind of evolving over time because it had to,
Yeah.
right? It had to happen.
People's lives were on the line.
Because you had two sides. You had people unaccounted for, and then you had people showing up. Hey, man, I drove 8 hours to help. What can I do? And they'd already showed up to 5 of the doors that said no. Not that they didn't want them.
They didn't
just
know what to do with
what
them.
to do with them. And so that was a whole nother side to the experience that really saw kind of come together slowly but surely. Took days, but at the end of it, right, you look back and you're like, okay, if this ever happens again, I'm going to reach out to and let them know, right? Whether it was a government official or, just a volunteer that got their feet wet and got in the tall grass and got out there and did the work, right? It just kept evolving to people seeing it and then wanting to be a part of it and then helping to make sure folks were taken care of. So, yeah, the organization was a slow burn.
Incredible, though.
Once it started clicking.
When the fact that you were able to do that in a day, you're like, yeah, it took days. But I'm like, that's most companies, that takes them months, years.
That was just it really was a true miracle because it's not supposed to happen.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You got people want to say, well, let's slow down. Let's collect the data and let's see what we do with it. Right. We pay this guy this and we're going to let him do it. It became city officials calling saying, hey man, we're going to let you guys handle it because it's working right now until we can get, radios back up. We can get everything back up and get a blueprint for this thing because we knew it wasn't going to take days.
Yeah.
Right.
We had people showing up saying, guys, hate to tell you, we're 7 years out down in Florida.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, reality's kicking in that, all right,
These
this is
people
going
need
to take
help, and
time.
we need to help
We're
our
going to
people.
take baby steps.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it was.
Yeah.
You look back, I remember being 7, 8, 9 days in and my wife saying, man, you got to slow down. Like you got to slow down because I was on the phone till 11 at night, 6 a.m. in the morning. Hey, I got 2 skid steers. Hey, I got bread. Hey,
I can see
but
how
you
your brother
realize
is
if the ball
now.
got dropped,
Yeah.
yeah, if the ball got dropped, I mean, part of me was like, somebody else will do it, but it's like, how long will it take for them to do it? Like God gave me the ambition. God gave me the energy and the heart and the like caffeine enabled body without caffeine to just, here it is, Jordan. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
It's
And
an
he'll
assignment. It's a big assignment.
sustain you too, even when you're
True.
exhausted and worn. It's
You just gotta have the people on your
temporary.
mind.
It's like, first of all, you just went through a very traumatic event, like your community did, and now you're out there running yourselves completely dry, exhausted. Probably families are on the back burner, but I mean, again, it's temporary. But looking at it, it was totally a spirit-led thing for everybody. You could see how God showed up.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about it like a map that, or almost like a Sims game, where he's like, okay, you go here, you go here, you go here. You allow this to happen, even though we shouldn't, like the policeman saying, we're going to look this way, just opening spirits up to just help his people. And I do remember when he was saying he didn't sleep for 2 days. He truly didn't. Like he couldn't. And it was totally a God thing. It was like he wouldn't allow his spirit to rest is what it looked like from the outside in.
It was true wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was almost like God was like, here's my plan to help these people. And I'm laying it at your feet because I know we have the logistics here. I know this community is going to show up and you need to take this and you need to help these people. And I remember we were running ourselves dry as well, but which was fine. We weren't like living in the tragedy, so we would do it. But I remember praying at night, like, I'm so tired and I feel so selfish for saying that. Like, I'm exhausted and I didn't even go through this and I feel like wrong for saying that. And I so vividly remember him saying, you've had your period of rest. So get up. These are my people. Get up. and go. I will sustain you.
He's like,
I'll
I'll
do
get
the rest.
later.
Yeah, I'll do the rest. Basically, he's like, you've been I mean, I'm a mom, but you've been resting for years. But so, anyways,
It's like,
I
like,
digress.
okay,
preparing you for this
Exactly.
for years.
Yes, and just the way that you
Yeah. This is the first time we've like actually sat down, I think, and talked about any of this.
Yeah.
But,
Really?
and I now I'm no longer brothers because
Yeah,
I mean,
very clear.
he was feeling a certain way. I was feeling the same way, but he's in the midst of it. He's in the thick of it, right?
Seeing it.
And I'm over here like I'm half of me is like upset that I'm not up there in boots on the ground or whatever you want to call it, and then the other half of me is like, we got to do something, you know. And it was like, when I tell you that people got my phone number, I'm talking at one point, people were calling me from out of state. They're calling me from Ohio. They see me posting or reposting stuff. And like I said, my stuff was public at that time. So I've got people from Ohio saying, we've got a tractor trailer that we're going to come down with. Can you get me a contact? I mean, all over Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, you name it. I mean, I was random.
Gosh.
And now I'm like, you know, these are people I still stay in touch with randomly, you know. But it was like, day. Okay, so that happened on a Monday, the start of it, right? When we started cranking it up down here. And by Wednesday, so many people had my number at that point. I called Rebecca and I was like, I was damn near tears because I'm like, we have I wouldn't say too many people, but it was like, I can't keep up with it. I need your help. And she's like, what can I do? Like I said, we plan on this thing to be a one tractor trailer. And now it's turned into like people calling me from out of state. We've got tractor trailers. Can you get us what if I got a truckload? Can you give me a truck? We had, at one point, we had the whole inside of our building filled up, plus the back porch was palletized by that point. By day 3, I had to fully depend on my wife. Almost, it was too much. And so, but on top of that, one of the first thing I noticed was these guys and gals going up there with their own aircraft, right? Yeah. So that was like one of the first things I heard about. I was like, dude, this is awesome.
Like private.
This is unbelievable. Private funding. These in some private sector is what we've done. Yeah. And so these people are flying up their helicopters and stuff. You got Greg Biffle, you got Cletus McFarland, you got my buddy Zeb down here.
Is that the YouTuber?
Yeah. And so they got Greg Biffle was a NASCAR driver, flies in a helicopter, lives in Mooresville. He was the first to land on Beach Mountain. He tried to go, I think it was 2 days. He tried to go up there over the weekend and couldn't get clearance because weather, obviously, too. And so I was like, you know what? While I'm doing this, I got to help otherwise. So I started putting it out there that I wanted to raise money for these guys.
Yeah.
These guys got enough. You know what I mean? Like the NASCAR driver, these guys are successful folks, but they are using their own right now.
Fuel too was insane.
Yeah. So I started just throwing my Venmo out there, and I said, I want to raise money for these guys and gals. If you know anybody or have a contact that has an aircraft, and so one of our friends hit me up, was like, yeah, my next door neighbor Zeb, he's up there, and so ended up I get a text from his wife Carrie, and so she's like, hey, what were you trying to do? I'm like, well, I'm just trying to, I want to help you guys. How can I do it? I don't know. I've been raising money for fuel. Can I send you something? Yeah. She's like, we don't need it. We're good. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. We see what you're doing, all this stuff. And so, but I ended up, just getting in touch with the Biffle, Greg Biffle and them. We got in touch with them, ended up linking up with a group called Aero Recovery and, John Howard and Zeb and Charlie Keyball. Those guys were, they were in it like from the beginning. It's just all sorts of stuff that, so at the same time, you're meeting lifelong friends too. And it was unbelievable because, people were coming up out of the woodworks. You got people that are hitting you up. How can I do this? Where can I go? Mm-hmm. And so we just ended up all the way from, we spread 14 trucks from Jefferson up in Ashe County, all the way down to below Asheville, and everywhere in between. We had local firefighter from Wilmington and Wrightsville Beach Rescue that went up to Asheville area. And so they were up there for a good part of the week. So we were sending them meals, doing things like that. But it was all because of everybody else, for whatever reason, trusted me because I made it very clear, like, you're going to see exactly where every single penny of this money goes. Yeah. I'm not here to, none of this is staying in my Venmo. No. So every time I got it, by the end of the day, I was emptying that thing out. I had buddies up there, Shay Jones, he and his crew were up there just throwing driveways and Culver's back in these people's just showing up. Like, incredible. It was not like hey, we're asking you. Yeah, we're not asking. We're gonna do this for you. They were helping everybody. So I was like, Shay, let me, feed your boys, fill your tanks up, whatever. Like, let me help. I'm trying to think of everybody I possibly can up there that I knew was doing the right thing.
Mhm.
But I mean, honestly, like, Rebecca nailed it on the head. Without my Megacorp family, I mean, it was whenever they got a break, they're out there for whether it was 5-10 minutes or a couple hours, but it was like I told them, at the end of it, when we got done, taking supplies and donating and doing all this stuff, it was like, if you didn't, get a chance to come help, you did enough by covering your team in order for them to come help. So, I mean, it goes so far beyond of what you saw up front. There was so much on the back end that, I'm just blessed to work for a company like that and to have an owner who cares enough about his community.
Yeah.
And about, just
Other
me
people.
having, that, he knew I had family up there. He knew I had a lot of friends up there. That's where I came from. And, it had tugged on the heartstrings like never before. I don't know, and I tell people this now, but it was a moment that I needed with God. Like I needed him to show up for me. I was like, how are we going to do this? And I'm sitting here praying all week because we've got Mr. Legg doing his thing with us and Megacorp backing me. And then Port City Church, they were coming by, and they were basically stopping to check in on us, man. How you guys doing? Do y'all need anything? And I said, no, but I need you this Sunday. I need, and so that was awesome. My buddies over there at Biggers Market, those guys went and took their truck and dropped pallets off at the church front door on Saturday. And those guys had it all set up. Church showed up on Sunday. So we go out there Sunday morning and help people unload their cars. It was it was so cool. It was so cool. But,
When it gives
and
you
it was
so
like,
much
I'm a
hope.
stranger, I'm a stranger to these people. I don't, like I said, I don't know why people trusted me the way they did, but I'm glad they did. But,
Well, I think that's God.
yeah, for sure.
God leading.
But,
people.
it was awesome to see these people I'd never met before pulling up to the curb at Megacorp,
Yeah.
I don't even have Facebook. My neighbor told me what's going on over here. We had this one lady, man, she pulled up every day with a carload. I'm talking, she went and bought stuff. That was how it was. We had people show up, they get out of their cars. Are you Ross? I'm like, yes, ma'am. And they just hug your neck and sob all over you together. We would sit there and we cry with each other. We pray with each other. But it was just, it was like God being like, I'm still here, and he brought us together. He brought our community together down here. We're not even in the thick of it. This is the crazy part. We're not even up there, and things that are happening through this little mission we got going on right here and how people saw us helping others, would hopefully, lead somebody to Christ or to help others or to be kind to others. There's just so much stuff. I wish I'd have written down every day at the end of the day, how that day, what we did, who I met, conversations I had. I still kick myself for not doing that. But, it was just awesome, man. I'm blessed to live in a community like this and to have, it's a family. We're a family down here, and we knew because y'all would have done the same for us. We realized that. And so, yeah, we just thank goodness, for everybody. Everybody had a piece to the puzzle. So we had the building, we had the stuff the area to lay the stuff out. I had my guys bring their trucks down. They loaded them up, and it didn't matter where they went. Where do you need this one to go? I'm like, I'm
No
taking it down
hesitation.
there past South Asheville.
Irritation.
Send me the address.
And they're like, you're like, okay.
But for a while there, it
Uh-huh.
was, you couldn't
That's what I was going to say.
get in. Yeah, they were like,
Yeah. We had,
Police
I'd called Jordan. There was a couple of times, I called Jordan. I said, man, can we get up there? And then there was a point in time where people were looting these trucks. There were instances right outside of Asheville at the truck stops. They knew that, what trucks had donations on their trailer, and they were breaking into them and robbing these guys. And so there's a couple instances where we had state trooper escorts in there, which is a whole other thing that came about, and then, it's like horses. There was horses and cattle up there that is important up there. This is people's livelihoods up there that couldn't get hay, couldn't get feed, so then that turned into a whole thing. It was like, people were hitting us up like, look, I got a contact that can bring, where do we go with it? Oh,
You're like, I'll
this is
sign this thing.
this is so
Right.
crazy.
Yeah.
Man.
plastic pipes. I mean, fence posts, like stuff you would, peanut butter crackers, like mass quantities, just showed up, man, like manna, like
Like,
the
man,
Lord,
yeah.
like the Lord breaking bread and say, man, it's going to happen. Like everybody's going to get fed.
Yeah.
You just got to trust it. And it was like, buckle up your seatbelt and trust it.
Yeah. And there were stories like one that sticks out, I think, that I'll never forget. And that's we went up to, oh man, I think Kelsey might have put me on these folks up in Asheville. It's right outside of Asheville. And she's like, here, this pastor, somebody I've been working with, call him. He could probably use a load. So they had set up at this, like somebody giving them some warehouse space, and it was loading docks, all this stuff. And a few buddies of mine showed up with generators, right? I mean, these guys went out and spent like $5,000 on generators, brand new generators. Some were used, but they worked. And they, cause everybody down here usually has a generator from Hurricane. So they were just bringing their generators. They were bringing us and so the very last thing that would go on these trucks, we put the generator on the back. Well, so I called this pastor up, hardly had cell service. We were like, took us 3 or 4 times to get on a call. He called from somebody else's phone. I think this one's working. And, he said, yeah, come on up. He's like, what time? Yeah, I said, it was going to be a little later. Now we got a late start today. And the pastor texted Kelsey, called Kelsey, and he said, who was this guy? He's like, nobody knew this, but my father was on his last leg. He needed oxygen. Like, we didn't have no power. He needed oxygen. I mean, I'm talking like within days. And this guy hits me up and he's like, you're not going to believe this. But so whenever the trailer would get there, they'd take a picture they'd open the door and they'd take a picture. I guess it'd send it to him. First thing he saw right there was a generator. And he said, is there any way you can ask that gentleman if it's okay if I take one of these generators? And he's like, my father he's on oxygen. We ain't got time. I don't know how much time, this is going to last. And absolutely, man. Like that generator, God knew that generator was going when they pulled in the parking lot at Megacorp. And we just happened to have a trailer going up that way to him specifically. And that generator was on that trailer.
Makes me chill just thinking about it.
And so, I got this pastor start breaking down, to me on the phone. And here we are, we're sitting here like tears of joy, obviously. But it's like, God, it was every single day God was doing his thing, man. Like, ain't no doubt about it. I mean,
Outside the church wall.
Yes, which is so great.
Outside of the church. This guy said,
Yeah.
100%. What?
I wanted to ask you, Jordan, how you felt about that. Did you feel like the flood was some sort of spiritual attack?
I mean, I think for me, like people got this question when bad things happen to them. They're like, why? Like, why is this happening to me? Right. I think one of the things that triggered me was my house looked great. My yard looked great. My driveway had a little washout, but it looked great. My power was on because I'm right beside the hospital. It was great. I'm going to go help.
So did you have survivor's guilt?
Yeah, I had guilt. I had guilt that I was unscathed. It was huge. It was huge. So to answer that question, I believe that when things happen like that, God really is saying, like, I have this assignment and it might not look pretty, right? And you're going to go through it and it's going to happen. And it's going to hurt. It's going to feel good. There's going to be different feelings and emotions, but how you going to take the next step with it? Like, what are you going to do with it? How will my name be edified through this situation? And I think people struggle with that because a man told me years ago, he said, the definition of love is this. It's not what's in it for me, but what's in it for you. If I'm acting like what's in it for you, my next step, how's it going to glorify God and what's in it for you? And so, that mountain community, they were still strong. It was like, hey, don't worry about me. Check the next address. Hey, don't worry about me. But if you go through the holler and take a right, check on Mr. Joe up there. Everybody was okay. They wanted you to check on somebody else. And then, but you saw that get tiring too, because it was like, okay, I finally need this.
Yeah.
I do need help. I do need something. Spiritually, for people who, I hope people saw me do what I did selflessly because I wanted to.
Yeah.
Not because I wanted to get famous or be on social media. It was because people told me no. And I'm like, well, bump that. I'm gonna find a way to help these people.
Yeah.
And God's saying, man, just keep going, man. Just keep going. I'm much bigger than any government leader. I am much bigger than any church pastor who's not interested right now. I am much bigger. You got to go and help these people.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to look like, Jordan, but just go.
But I'm calling you. I'm tapping you.
Man, I remember driving down 221 that Monday. Cynthia Cheek calls me. She's a Farm Bureau agent out of Yadkin County. Mind you, an hour away from ground zero where the flood happened. It's beautiful. It's all hunky-dory. And she was like, how is it really? And I remember just breaking down and saying, man, it's bad. I've driven around all weekend. I've walked around all weekend with chainsaw and helping people get out of their house, helping medics load up people because they couldn't get back to them. And I'm OEC certified, like just random stuff happening to where it's like God gave you knowledge and gave you a desire to see other people treated better than yourself. Right. And next thing I know, she's giving me this name. All right, this guy named Mike Southern's going to call you. He's going to see what you need for help. I'm like, he won't be able to help. He ain't gonna be. But it was like a Ross. It was a guy convicted to say, we need to help those people in the mountains. And that right there led to more people and more people and more people. So I do believe that the Lord had all these people waiting, right?
Yeah. He's just waiting for you to kind of pick
Don't
up
be
the
tired.
Yeah.
Like Rebecca was saying, don't be tired, but now it's time. Now's your calling, right? Listen, Scripture tells us, Jesus tells me, he always acts it out for us that it ain't about kudos to me. It's about the orphans and it's about the widows. We saw a new meaning to all of that. It's about the people that don't have a home on their property anymore. It's about the people that are using a clothesline to send a basket across the river, hoping it doesn't fall in and spill everything they just got donated to them because they can't get to the road. It's about people trying to figure out if someone on the other side of the county is still alive or not. That's where you saw the Lord saying, just go. For those that have lesser than you, just go. For those that have more than you, just go and be a disciple of mine so that people see you and me. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we'll never be that perfect, but doggone, man, I mean, we can try.
And it was, you were helping people regardless of if they, like you said, outside of the church walls, regardless of if they were believers or not. I mean, that
no doubt.
Absolutely. You weren't going, hey, are you a believer? There, okay, great. I'll give you some help.
And God came up in the conversation. That was the cool thing.
Yeah.
Right. Why are you doing that, sir? Why are you doing this? Why are you bringing my dad oxygen? Or why are you coming to line up trucks to bring gravel to fix my culvert? Why? Because I love Jesus.
And God told me to.
Huh. Okay. I've heard that before, but it didn't look like this. And so you hope that somebody came away changed for the glory of God.
You were planting seeds.
Just through LOVE.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just through LOVE. Yeah.
Yeah.
The tire thing, I mean, that was, everybody, you know.
You're running on adrenaline.
Everybody,
Crazy adrenaline.
exactly. That's 100%.
It was a crazy.
I keep thinking about everybody up there. I'm like, here we are. People can't even shower. People can't shower. They ain't got nothing to eat. They have no power. They're doing this and that. I'm like, I'll work around the clock. Don't even care. Like, we can only do this a week or two, you know?
That was a big learn.
Yeah.
You can't set it alone.
Yeah. And so I knew in the back of my head, I was like, unfortunately, this is going to end. People are going to stop showing up and bringing us stuff, and people are going to stop, you know. I knew that in the back of my head.
Media rolls out.
People
Stop coming.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know if that was just, you know, that's why I call home. That's where I tell people I'm from. It is. I just claim it, man. I've been there longer, you know, than anywhere else, just about. And I knew how important it was to my family and the friends and family that I still had left up there, that, you know, it was just, we had to do it, and we had to get all the help we could. I mean, I couldn't believe the donations. I mean, people sending me on Venmo. I
you didn't know them. They just were
no
Venmo.
idea.
Yeah.
You know, like when you send a Venmo to somebody, you don't know the last four, and they're like, send it anyway. You know, that sort of thing. Now it's like, and I'm like, what in the world? And so, yeah, that was like a whole other thing, doing that part with the fuel and the food and everything else. And then, I mean, you have people, it was just unbelievable, just who showed up. I mean, nonstop. And, you know,
You ended up being a vehicle. for somebody to go through to accomplish
What they
them serving, them giving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and if it's like you said, it's like if me doing this one thing can, spread the love of Jesus or
One
to
person.
to one person. I knew, surely the amount of people that we helped. And then we had, so Port City has some satellite churches. So we got Leland Church showing up with a box truck, backing in. I'm like, cool, where you guys from?
Yeah.
Oh, we're from the Leland campus. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, this is freaking believable. And so, by that Friday, we had the church behind us by that point, and it was just one, every single day, there was just something that God was continuing to show up. He was continuing to fill the needs, and he was just using us. Like he was just, we're 6 hours away. We're 7 hours from South Asheville. We're 5 or 6 from Ashe County. And, we were just, I don't know. I still can't get over it to this day.
Thanks for being here with us today. If something resonated, maybe a sentence, a silence, or a story, hold on to that. If you felt seen or stirred or simply curious, we hope you'll join us again. Until then, stay open, stay tender, and remember, there's always a seat for you at the table.